चीज़ें आज पता चली, मैं सच कह रही हूँ, मुझे पहले पता नहीं थी।
तो ये क्या चीज़ें थी?
जैसे कि कायद-ए-आज़म का नमाज़ जनाज़ा देखना और लोग किस तरह हिजरत करके हिंदुस्तान से पाकिस्तान तक आए थे, और वो लोग थे जिन्हें खाने के लिए कुछ भी मुयस्सर नहीं था, सोने के लिए जगह मुयस्सर नहीं थी, किस तरह उन्होंने पाकिस्तान जब इधर आए तो उन्होंने अपने दिन गुजारे थे। इसमें तो स्कूल में हम लोग बुक्स में पढ़ते हैं, पढ़ते पढ़ते हम लोग बोर भी हो जाते हैं काफ़ी बार, क्योंकि हम लोग स्टूडेंट पढ़ते पढ़ते बोर होते हैं। लेकिन ये तरीका है, ये ना जैसे एक कंपटीशन की तरह होता है ये इस तरीके में। इसमें हर कोई होता है कि आगे मैं हूँ सबसे, इस वजह से ये तरीका ज़्यादा अच्छा लगता है।
बच्चों को पिक्चर्स दिखाई जाती है, फिर उनके बारे में बताया जाता है, फिर पूछा जाता है बच्चों से उनके बारे में। ये अच्छा है। बुक्स में बस ये होता है कि टीचर्स पढ़ा देती है और फिर क्वेश्चन आंसर। इसमें बच्चों को तस्वीरें भी दिखाई जाती हैं, बताया जाता है कि किस तरह मुश्किलात पेश आई जब पाकिस्तान वजूद में आया। मैं चाहूँगी कि बच्चों को इस तरह पिक्चर्स दिखा के जो है समझाया जाए, बच्चों को खेल की तरह पढ़ाया जाए। जिस तरह यहाँ पर हम खेल रहे थे क्वेश्चन आंसर, तो इस तरह बच्चों को पढ़ाया जाए। खाली बुक्स होती है, इनमें लिखा हुआ होता है, बच्चों को ये नहीं नज़र आता कि क्या क्या मुश्किलात पेश आई। बच्चों पिक्चर में लोगों की फीलिंग नज़र आ रही थी हमें, तो हमें इससे पता चल रहा था कि कितनी मुश्किलात के बावजूद ये जब पाकिस्तान है वजूद में आया, तो हम उन लोगों को देख कर ही आगे बढ़ेंगे।
जो हालात है उस हालात से मैं बहुत तंग आया हूँ। जैसे कि पहले वक्त में आटा 20 रुपये किलो होता था, बंदा खुल के और भी सामान ले सकता था। आजकल सिर्फ हुकूमत जो है बहुत से दावे कर जाती है, जैसे लोड शेडिंग नहीं होगी और कुछ नहीं होगा, और वही शेयरिंग में हो रही है। रमज़ान में बहुत तकलीफ हो रही है, आटा जो 60 रुपये किलो तक पहुँच गया। तो ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए और महंगाई को कम करना चाहिए। मैं पाकिस्तान को समझ मैंने पुरानी कराची की तस्वीरें देखी, पुराने हालात देखे, जैसे बंदा रोड पर देखा, पहले हालात देखे, जैसे बस देखे, पुरानी गाड़ियाँ देखी।
और इन तस्वीरों में से आपको कौन सी तस्वीरें सबसे ज़्यादा पसंद है?
मुझे क्लिफ्टन की पुरानी तस्वीर बहुत पसंद आई।
क्यों पसंद है?
क्लिफ्टन मैंने पहले ऐसा नहीं देखा था, लेकिन मुझे बचपन से मैं क्लिफ्टन देखता आ रहा हूँ।
Most important thing was you tried to get the opinion of the students by telling them what do you like about Pakistan or you dislike about it. So all the children drew what they thought was nice or very offensive to them, which nobody has ever asked them this question, neither their family nor their Allahwalas, and neither in this school or any other school for that matter compared to government schools. I'm talking about government schools. So the girls came out of their shells. They drew what they like, and we discovered so many nice artists we have in the school, and then they wrote about it and they spoke as to why they drew this, what motivated them to do this, and what changes they would like to bring, which is now in black and white. First it was not even in their mind, but this organization, your event, made them think. So I think it is an absolutely amazing experience which you must continue several times a year with most of the schools. I'm sure you won't find so much knowledge, historical knowledge in even private schools, English medium schools. You'd be surprised if you went there yourself. So I think you should need to repeat it.
स्टेट बैंक ऑफ पाकिस्तान पाकिस्तान का सबसे अहम बैंक है।
मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा क्योंकि इसमें बहुत सी चीज़ें ऐसी मैंने देखी जो मुझे भी नहीं मालूम थी।
अच्छा, आपका पहले से क्या
चीज़ें जो हमें वाकई मालूम नहीं थी, इस तरह से कि किस तरह से हमारा इतना तो पता था कि लोगों ने बहुत कुर्बानियाँ दी और किस तरह से आए थे, लेकिन उसकी डिटेल हमें कहीं नहीं मिली थी कि किस तरह से हुआ। ये बहुत अच्छी चीज़ लगी। पुरानी पिक्चर्स हमने बहुत कम देखी थी, अब आज यहाँ देखी।
आउटरीच प्रोग्राम एक्चुअली एक बहुत ही इंटरेक्टिव किस्म का पूरा टूर था। इसमें इंटरेक्शन इंटर्नीज, वॉलंटियर, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के जो दूसरे बोर्ड डायरेक्टर्स हैं एंड इवेंचुअली द गवर्नमेंट स्कूल के किड्स, सबका इंटरेक्शन आपस में बहुत ज़्यादा था और उन्होंने आपस में, हम लोगों ने हिस्ट्री के बारे में बहुत ज़्यादा सीखा। मुझे खुद हिस्ट्री के बारे में इतना ज़्यादा नहीं पता था, लेकिन टूर के बाद मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा कुछ खुद से भी पता चला, दूसरों को भी बताया मैंने, और बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छी इंटरेक्टिव चीज़ें की, जैसे 3D स्लाइड शोज़।
The children at first were very, they didn't know what to do. They wanted us to dictate to them, like they wanted us to tell them, okay, draw this, write this, and they had very creative ideas, but they just didn't want. They just wanted to conform. Like they wanted us to tell them, or they would look at their friends and they would want to copy that. They don't want to use their own minds, even though when you talk to them one-on-one, which I did, and then they would come up with very creative stuff. But they just didn't know how to express themselves.
Activity that I personally enjoyed was the postcard activity, where we got the kids to draw what they felt Pakistan was like, and so they had to draw what they were thinking, how they saw Pakistan. And it was interesting because you saw a progression from school to school.
I think it was very new to them, and I don't think many of them understood that they were actually being taught something in an educational way. I think a lot of them thought it was a game, and I think vis-a-vis that they actually learned something, and it was a very subtle way to teach, and it was a very indirect way to teach. And I think when kids are enjoying themselves, they don't associate it with that sort of burdensome, like learning or that kind of thing. So I think they enjoyed it, and they actually learned things in a very subconscious way almost. The play, basically, it's using these puppets, and it's the story of what we do in real life with the Oral History Project. And what we do is we have young CAP volunteers along with a CAP coordinator, and they go to this old woman's house, and she has a young grandson who is very much against sort of anything she says and is very irritated by her. And then of course the story goes, the CAP volunteers take the interview, and later on the grandmother passes away, and the grandson is very sad about what's happened, and that's the sort of moral of the story. And I think most of the children understood that and responded and said, okay, we have a lot to learn, and that we shouldn't take sort of older people for granted. So that's what the play was about, and I think because it followed a narrative, and because it was something that came from real life, from what we actually do, it came across to them in a very strong way, and it's something that they can all relate to very easily as well, because I'm sure it's a narrative that they're familiar with, the narrative of losing someone and therefore then losing the history. I think that's what sort of came together through the play. It was a very fun thing for them to do. It wasn't something that they are exposed to on a day-to-day basis. It's something that's usually a treat for them.
I would like to talk about one child who drew when we were doing the postcard activity, and the child drew a Qaid-e-Azam. He took out a 10 rupee note and he drew a similar Qaid-e-Azam's picture. It was amazingly done, and I have not seen that earlier. Doing it in like 5 minutes, he drew a whole Qaid-e-Azam picture, and it was amazing. But when I literally went and asked him what does he plan to do later on, he said, I don't know. And I was like, are you interested in arts? He was like, very much, or maybe in army. But I was like, what are your plans? Do you think you will succeed, or your parents will allow you? You can go to one of these? He was like, no, I don't think so. And this school does not provide anything, and I don't know what I will do. So those are one of the few things which just hit me that time, that we should do a lot to. This talent is going away like this. It's going wasted.